Hello, welcome into this episode of Drilling Deeper. I am Jack Kopansky, managing editor of Pit and Quarry. Today we are going to be joined by Paul Ross of Douglas-Rulmeca. We're going to talk with Paul about what is going on with the Douglas-Rulmeca merger, the company's new idler plant in Pell City, Alabama, the new PSV idler that the company just put out, as well as maximizing conveyor performance and what operators need to know in that regard. Paul's got a lot of great information to share, so let's get into it. All right, and we are pleased to be joined today by Paul Ross, president of Douglas-Rulmeca. Paul is a results-driven leader with a distinguished career spanning nearly 3 decades in the conveying manufacturing industry. Starting at Douglas Manufacturing in 1994, Paul rose through the ranks, excelling in roles such as operations director, vice president of sales and marketing, and president. During his tenure, he led significant innovations, established strategic partnerships, and expanded global market reach. In 2023, Paul transitioned to president of Douglas-Rulmeca following the acquisition, where he has continued to drive growth by strengthening the domestic and global supply chain, launching the new PSV idler, and overseeing the construction of a state-of-the-art idler plant in Pell City. Paul's leadership extends beyond corporate operations. He has served as president of the Conveyor Equipment Manufacturers Association, contributing to industry standards and expanding the association's international membership. With an MBA from the University of Alabama at Birmingham and multiple patents for conveyor components, Paul's expertise in strategic planning, operations, and innovation is unmatched. When he's not shaping the future of conveyor technology, Paul enjoys scuba diving, traveling, and spending time with his family. Paul, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Jack. I appreciate it.
I did not take you for a scuba diver, but a
I,
very neat little fun fact.
yeah, I've been scuba diving since I was 13. My dad and I learned together and started traveling. It was a really good family thing, and I've carried that tradition with my family. So all of us are certified, and we try and do one trip a year. Sometimes it's difficult. We go to various places, kind of see the world from an underwater perspective. It's really fun.
Very fun. Yeah, that's excellent. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, as much as I'd love to spend the next 30 to 40 minutes talking about scuba diving with you, we got a lot of good stuff to get into about what Douglas-Rulmeca is doing. First things first, as I've kind of been saying, Douglas-Rulmeca, obviously Douglas acquired by Rolmeca recently. That partnership kind of blossoming and sort of transforming each of the respective companies. Just talk a little bit about that acquisition and where Douglas-Rulmeca stands right now, how that partnership's going, and just sort of how everything's going down there.
Yeah. Oh, it's going great. It's going great. We've had a whirlwind year, I guess, from product development and construction here. But back in '93, we were acquired by Rulmeca, which is an Italian company, and it's a family-owned company. So one of the decision-making processes that Dad and I made was we were talking with Fabio and Marco Gisalberti, the two brothers that own Rulmeca, and they had the same values, the same goals. Uh, it really was a synergistic uh, melding of two family companies. It was fantastic. They kept all of our team in place, investing just huge amount of capital in our company, kind of to bringing us to the place where we've always wanted to be, which is in a leadership role in the industry. And that's coming to fruition. Actually, today we're starting up production of the PSV roller. So it's very fortuitous that we're talking this morning. But just a really, really good melding of two family companies. And at our core, that's what we are, family companies. We treat our customers like family, our employees, our team members like family, our vendors like family. It's just a really nice way of doing business. And we have extended our global reach with Rolmeca. Just they have 19 facilities throughout the world. Nine of them make idlers like we do. So it's really fantastic, and we've gotten to meet everybody and just make lots of new friends in the industry and places we never thought we would. Just every continent you can imagine, probably with the exception of Antarctica. So it's been a great year and a half, really, since the acquisition. But the past 12 months have been truly, truly monumental.
Absolutely. That's great to hear. You mentioned the new PSV idler coming out, obviously a very exciting development. We'll get to that here in a second, but sticking on the idler front, you had mentioned to me a little ahead of this conversation that Douglas Romeca's got a new idler plant coming out in Pell City. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh man, the idler plan is fantastic. I actually came in this weekend as we were finalizing a bunch of stuff. It is a huge plant dedicated just to the production of idlers and frames, B, C, D, and E. So we're up and running this morning, making rollers, making the frames, doing everything we need to do here. The capital investment was all up there in automation, technology, just everything you can imagine for a state-of-the-art idler plant. So we are the most advanced idler plant in North America and probably in the world right now. If not for the case that we've spent a lot of money and time developing the technology, it's also because we just started up today. So I don't think anybody else is starting up today. So that's a pretty unique thing to say. We're What's interesting about this is Rulmeca's made idlers since 1962. We've made idlers for 30 years. So we're bringing that experience together. We're adopting the global design that Rulmeca uses so that we can piggyback off their global supply chain and our domestic supply chain, just create some resilience, which is really cool to reduce costs, improve efficiencies. And the technology that we're using is in many of their plants. It's just the most advanced version of those. So we owe a deep debt of gratitude to our colleagues around the world who've helped us to reach this point so quickly. It took us exactly 12 months from the time we broke ground to the time we started operation. So I'm not sure that's a success record, or maybe not a Guinness Book of World Records, but I'm pretty sure it is. I don't know of anybody else that's been able to do that. So we're very proud to be part of this group and very proud of what we've achieved over the past 12 months.
Yeah, that definitely is impressive, in 1 year's time getting something like that done, and you mentioned sort of the supply chain and lead time aspects, in today's market, I'm sure that was something that was front of mind in this development is sort of shoring up those, again, lead times, you know, bettering the supply chain a little bit, and that really just seems like a testament to sort of the culture and the sort of commitment that Douglas has as a company.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're nothing without our customers. It's really nice to have a brand new shiny building and lots of inventory and great equipment that's state of the art, but the customer is the boss, and what they expect is what we have to deliver. That's always been the Douglas mantra and is the Real Mecca mantra. Managing lead times is an art form and a science, and it has to be something that's tended to every day. So it starts, of course, with delivery of basic raw materials, subcomponents, things like that. But it finishes with us, our scheduling, our team efficiency, the equipment we have on hand. So with Roll Mecca, they have a global supply chain. Every continent, they have sources for different materials. So we were actually able to select from those suppliers and then mirror those with ours so that we have a effective mix of supply chain. So that if the unfortunate thing happens again, which we all saw several years ago, where supply chains get disrupted, we have the ability to keep operating throughout that process, throughout those situations. Everybody learned that lesson. It was a hard lesson for everybody to learn, but having a dual source is a corporate policy, and we even like to have as much as three or four if we can afford to do that. But we'll have at least two diversified sources for all critical components, and ideally we'll have one here in the United States and then one abroad to kind of smooth out everything and make sure we can always get the parts. I like to put it this way: if we can get it by a train or a truck, I prefer it to a boat. And that's the way I've looked at it since 2020. So, if we can get it on a road or on a rail, that's much more efficient than if we have to put it on a ship.
I like that. I like that as a mantra. It's a good way to put it. And having those multiple sources, it just is obviously very impressive and certainly important. I'm sure that was something that was front of mind as this new PSV idler was being developed. Tell us a little bit about this new idler. We've been hearing a lot about it in our conversations. Sounds like a very impressive piece of equipment. Tell us a little bit about this new idler.
Oh, it's fantastic. Like I mentioned before, the genesis of the PSV started in 1962 with Fabio and Marco's father when he started the company. It's gone through various iterations and evolved like anything has. So right now it is state of the art roller. So it's very impressive. It has 7 components to the sealing system. It's an advanced hybrid sealing system. We like to use the word hermetic, but basically it just means it's enclosed. You can put it underwater if you need to. We don't suggest that, but you can. It's everything all in one that our customers need, that the industry needs to keep rolling. So that's the main thing. Rumeka has thought of everything in this product. I'm sure we'll think of something else soon, but for now, it's fantastic. We have a counterbore tube. The equipment that we bought is fully automatic, so we can counterbore, assemble, and weld all in one process and very rapid function with high quality. The sealing arrangements go together and are proven in the industry. There's literally millions of these idlers in the toughest applications around the world that have proven themselves. So there's no learning curve for this. Just, when they pop off the assembly line today, they're going to be ready to go and to prove themselves to our customers. We're real excited. So it's everything you could ever want in a roller and more.
Yeah, yeah, that's excellent. And while, like you said, I'm sure customers won't be rushing to hold them underwater. Tell me a little bit about what this this new PSV idler is going to offer customers as far as relieving pain points, improving maintenance and efficiency, and just sort of the, I guess, the real world benefits that this idler can provide.
Yeah, yeah. So one of the best benefits is the sealing arrangement. Those people that know rollers know that the seal is the key to the idler. So that keeps all the contaminants out. So we're sealed from the inside and the outside. There are 7 components to the sealing system. It is a hybrid, advanced hybrid sealing system, which means it's got the benefits of both contact and no non-contact seals. So we've managed to achieve low rotational resistance while still maintaining a slight contact to the shaft to keep the contaminants out. Very important component in the idler. We have a snap ring, which is somewhat unique. Some people put burrs and different things to keep the roll in place. We actually are putting a physical barrier there to keep the infloat minimized to some industry leading specifications. So the tolerances on our idlers are very tight. They always were, but now they're even tighter. We've learned a lot from our colleagues in Europe and other parts of the world about holding these tolerances, which is fantastic because that really translates to a better quality product for our customers, longer life. One thing that Rolmeca is real big about, and we were too, but this has really been driven home for us is sustainability. So our products have always been made to last, but now we're even engineering them better so that they have a longer life cycle for folks. So you've just got less maintenance, less replacements, lower energy consumption with these rollers, high amount of dependability. Just the perfect idler for pretty much any application that you can imagine. We're very, very proud of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's great to hear. You talked a little bit already about, sort of the supply chain and how the new idler plant Pell City is kind of helping that. Obviously, working with Romeca, you mentioned an Italian company. You've got a global sort of component to it as well. You mentioned having multiple sources for pieces of equipment and components. Can you just kind of talk about the importance of that dual sourcing a little bit, and how this kind of reduces customer risk, minimizes lead times, even during periods of global disruption like we've seen in the past, and in some ways we're seeing now as well.
Oh, absolutely. So it's not just about, the next big significant global event. I mean, you could have any vendor anywhere incur some kind of trouble. I mean, you could have bad weather, you could have all kinds of things that you don't foresee. So mitigating that risk is key to Romeca's strategy. That's number one. The second thing is if we do have some type of global supply chain disruption, not all of our eggs are in one basket. So we can look to that other supplier to get that material. Like I mentioned, it's preferable that it comes from somewhere here in North America, ideally. But if it can't, then we can get it from Europe, we can get it from Asia, we can get it from other parts of the world. Frankly, these are proven supply chain partners that have been delivering products to Romeca for sometimes decades. So, there's no real learning curve with this, and the benefits of it are instantaneous. So we get that benefit from day one and have been enjoying that since we joined up with Rebecca. But like I mentioned, we all hope that nothing big happens, but if it does, we're prepared for it. But it is the small things too that can occur over time. Even companies closing down for vacation or something, you don't foresee it. We all have better planning than that, but you never know. You never know.
That's right. Certainly can be unpredictable. It certainly sounds like you're in a good spot. Douglas-Rulmeca is as far as that sort of supply chain and component availability is going. Obviously, it's something that can also always be better. What are kind of your future plans, or what are the company's future plans for continued investment in supply chain resilience and customer support?
Oh, absolutely. Well, we built out over the past year, we built out a better customer support team. Our customer service team has doubled in size. Our outside sales team has doubled in size. So maybe not hitting on supply chain, but working with our customers, developing strategies, bringing value to our customers, something we're dedicated to. And that does translate back to that global supply chain. So right now, we're focused on the idlers, but that global supply chain will also filter into our pulleys and other product lines. So while we're somewhat unique in our group that we make all the different components for belt conveyor systems for bulk material handling systems, Romeca does have the experience to support us with those other components, whether it's pulleys, impact beds, take ups, or magnetic separators. Um, we're going to circle back to that as soon as the new plant gets running, and then we'll probably focus on the pulleys second, and then work our way down to some of the other product lines. Because the idlers are our largest product line, pulleys will be our second largest product line, and then the other components will filter in there. So we'll take that dual sourcing strategy to all of our components and make sure that we're insulated, from top to bottom.
For sure, that makes absolute sense. You mentioned the idlers sort of being that top product line, that main product line. Let's talk a little bit as far as or let's talk a little bit about sort of in practice applications maximizing the performance of those idlers. Can you just talk a little bit about how, a producer or an operator listening, if they're looking to get a little more life out of their idlers or how to maybe select the right idler for them? Can you talk a little bit about the process that goes into that and why that's so important?
Yeah, yeah. Let's start at the foundation. The foundation is SEMA standards. Any producer that's selecting idlers or working with a supplier to select idlers should ensure that they're using the most current SEMA standards for idlers or any components that are covered by that. And that's, pulleys and idlers particularly. So SEMA does a really great job of creating some easy to understand standards so that the customer can expect, because knows what to expect from these components and knows how to select them properly. Whether it's the SEMA class, which is the baseline, the roll diameter, the belt width, all those things need to be considered. And then what you need to do is kind of consider a worst case scenario. So you don't want to engineer to just the basic, the everyday. Kind of look beyond that, because when we do see issues in conveyors, it's usually there's anomalies to it. That you could have shock loading or surges or different things like that that are really messing things up. And the biggest problem I think would be with spillage on conveyors as we move toward more sustainable practices. And that's a very practical term in my viewpoint. You want to keep all the material on the conveyor and you want to reduce maintenance. That's the way I look at it, right? You want to do things correctly. That's why I teach our people do it right the first time. They really need to look at that stuff, because when you see people skimp on belt widths or roll diameters, they start having significant maintenance costs with cleanup or idler replacement. Same thing with the SEMA class. But again, the best thing people can do is reference that SEMA standard and any bid they put out. And the next thing is make sure they're working with a manufacturer that's involved in SEMA, because all of our the significant companies in the United States are active in SEMA and they're invested in it. So it's very important. It's a different level of commitment to quality and customer satisfaction. Is the way I put it. The
Yeah.
customer's satisfied, then we're satisfied. I guess the way forward for us is we're finishing up with the new idler plant, the PSV line starting to run right now. As soon as I hang up with you, I'm gonna jump up there and see what's going on. And then phase two for us will be the other components, starting with the pulleys. So shortly after we commission this plant, uh, we will turn around and make significant investments in our pulley product line, just continuing to grow to help ensure that we meet the growing needs of our customers and exceed their expectations every day. That's what we come into work to do, and we love what we do. And our friends at Romeca, our colleagues at Romeca, love what they do too, and we're just very fortunate to have them to be a part of that team. Is really what it is, and it really is a team. It's a team that's based here with products made in Alabama, but extends to pretty much every continent around the world, to over 1,300 team members. So it's very exciting for us.
So, Paul, just one last thing for you, and obviously such a crowded marketplace in the idler and pulley world. What is it that really differentiates Douglas-Rulmeca? If someone listening to this right now, say why choose Douglas-Rulmeca over company X, company Y? What would you say to them?
That's a really great question, Jack. What I'd say is that Douglas and Romeca exhibit industry leadership. We have a decades long track record. Combined, we have 105 years of experience around the world. We have innovative engineering. We have a very large R&D department in Europe that's constantly refining our products. We do have global trust. So, Douglas has been here in the United States since 1978. We've had customers since 1978. They still buy from us. And Romeca is the same way. So you have this partnership, this trust in the industry. And one thing is our hallmark is exceptional customer service. I mean, we have built Douglas and Romeca on exceptional customer service. You get people you talk to here, you get response. You have people that take ownership of what they're doing. They don't just, kick the can to somebody else and wait and see what happens. So, those are probably the five uh, things that differentiate us from other people. And I think that makes us very unique and, gives us a lot of benefit moving forward. We're very excited to leverage those and, just take everything ahead.
Yeah, that sounds great, Paul. Sounds like the future is very bright for Douglas-Rulmeca. Excited to see what this year and beyond holds for you guys, especially with the PSV Idler and the new Idler plan. Hoping to get down there soon, get a look at that. Would love to sort of see the inner workings of what's going on down there in Pell City.
Yeah,
So
anytime. You're welcome in. Doors open anytime.
thanks again to Paul Ross for joining us. For anyone listening that wants to learn a little bit more about Douglas-Rulmeca, about the PSV Idler, about the company's new Idler plant in Pell City, Alabama, or anything else going on with the company, you can email sales@douglasmanufacturing.com or you can visit their website at douglasmanufacturing.com. Thanks so much again to Paul for joining us, and best of luck to him and Romeca the rest of this year.
Thanks, Jack.
Thanks again to Paul Ross from Douglas-Rulmeca for joining us today. A lot of good information that Paul shared, including how to maximize conveyor performance, what's going on with the company's new Idler plant in Pell City, Alabama, the company's new PSV Idler. Thanks again to Paul. Keep an eye out for our next episode where we will be talking with Richard Luck, the new president of Luck Companies, as well as much, much more. Thanks as always for listening to Drilling Deeper. I am Jack Kopansky, and we'll see you next time.